All right, with this is the second part of our team analysis of the UBL draft majors, and I am joined by a lot of different people that mostly don't talk, and within them there's Shield, who does actually talk.
From time to time.
Yeah. Uh, and we covered a lot of teams already. Pat is gone, and a few others are gone now because obviously I live in CET, and Europe has a very different time zone than America, and that sucks sometimes. Oh yeah, so now we have the explanation of Austin's team, and I will read it out, trying to be as much Austin-y as I can. Mega Lucario. Probably my favorite Mega that I've never got to use. Okay, no, that's ridiculous. I will
Try
just
for
read out normal.
try your best American accent, man. You'll give it. See if that'll do Austin some justice
Nah,
there.
I
Also,
think I think he sounds a little like that. Oi, mate, Mega Lucario, probably my favorite Mega I've ever got to use. Plus, it's ridiculously powerful as a clean 112 speed tier. Deoxys. Originally was gonna be Pheromosa, but sniped. Settled on Dio. Dio is a deodorant, I guess. He's spraying on his body. I just settled on Dio, so I still had some top tier speed, and I absolutely loved the coverage. Plus, technically, spikes. Larius.
uh-huh.
Larius pretty much entirely cause it resists everything Lucates and gives me an actual psychic type. Actually true. Infernape. I wanted to prioritize Volturn down the stretch here since Dio is never switching in without a clean switch. Rocks, of course, and gives me the fighting spam I wanted with Theramosa, and gives me a third one that's completely mixed. Yeah, Infernape is
Yeah,
actually great, right? We can
uh,
agree that Infernape is one of
Austin,
the best ones.
oh yeah, Austin's gonna love this part. I can't believe I'm going to admit this, but he did snipe me. There you go, Austin. You happy?
Now Pat is back, and I'm just started recording again, so he might want to talk again. Thunder
Damn it, he
T,
was listening.
Thunder T. I needed an electric type desperately and couldn't add to the ground weakness. Also enables a bit of rain picks later on. Actually, too. Gliscor. I was feeling very uncomfortable. Pigeon holding Ape into rocks, so I added to my bulk. So basically, he just wanted to survive more. Also, can go offensive, plus has U-turn. Empoleon! I wanted a real steel type, and at this point, I needed a water. Oh, he needed water. He was thirsty. He needed a drink really
Somebody,
badly.
somebody get him up. Somebody get him a bottle. Pat your back. Get him a bottle.
Get him a bottle of water. The extra rocks and defog is nice too, as is defiant. Keeps Lati versatile. P2. Player 2 joined the game.
Uh huh.
I felt I needed a little more general bulk as well as a ghost switch in. One of the few things in T4 that can really take hits from the Super Ubers. I want to point out that he doesn't have a ghost till this part. P2, if you ever want the most insane combination with P2, take Gorgeist. Gorgeist is insane with P2. I don't know why people underrate it so much. It's ghost. It's normal. It has grass typing. You have a lot of bulk within them. You can have frisk to snatch out the enemy Z users and stuff like that. Who has the Z item and scarf and like stuff like that. So a really great man. Really great combo. Just overall a suggestion, Austin, if you think about picking up a ghost. Pelipper,
Mm.
last minute choice. I had my speed overall, so I felt like getting a rain setter on top of a bulky U-turner and resist to all of Luke's issues was huge. Comfy. I needed a ferry, and it was between this and Slurpuff, but I love the priority ferry move, base 100 speed and U-turn. Also, can sort of be clerikish, being because of aromatherapy. Seismitoad.
And
Opted for this over Ludicolo because it's useful outside of rain. Also, didn't add any big weakness and allows for me to have rocks be fluid. Make Pelipper the only mon that has dependent on others to be able to be brought.
So
Excuse me.
Austin has a shit ton of water. Is bro, you're too thirsty. You were too thirsty during this whole draft. Yeah, jokes aside, he's it's and from his description, it seems like his mentality seems like he's supporting Mega Luke a lot, but at the same time, he's got a lot of standalone like good options though. Like he's got like having Deoxys, Latias, Infernape, and Thundurus. Like they themselves can be like the playmakers in this game.
Can I just point out, he was like, well, I wanted Pheromosa because of the fighting spam. Has Megalocario as tier 1. I love the explanation because he basically already has the fighting spam he wanted from his tier 2.
Yep. Or not for no, it's fighting spam from his tier 1 because the T2 is Deoxys.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the draft here is a very similar draft as mine on the offensive. He wants to be offensive with his team. He wants to bring out the pressure, putting the enemy under pressure, making them like really, really think about their switches multiple times, and that really works out for him, I guess. It I like the draft on some ends. On other ends, I think obviously again here a ghost with if you pick a normal bulky type, I love picking a ghost type with it because it just pressures so much just by the pure existence of these two types. You can't use fighting or normal because the ghost could switch in. You can't use ghost because the normal could switch in. So basically, you cover three types that are not uncommon, honestly, just by that. And there are strong ghosts out there. So yeah, that's just something I always like prefer. Otherwise, his against fighting in general is lackluster. Like Larius can take fighting hits. Deoxys Base doesn't really want to switch into anything.
No, it
Gliscor
doesn't.
Gliscor can take fighting
Well,
hits. Thunderous T can kinda take fighting hits, and Pelipper kinda. But if you have the right fighting type,
yeah,
they can put up a Thunder Punch on the fighting monster on some, and like an Ice Punch, and boom, no fighting switching anymore. They are gone.
in terms of bulk, like close combat spam or even high jump kick spam, it like they can't sure the elementally they can take the hits, but like over time they definitely don't want to endure them because so that's where I think you can kind of break through, but like when you got things like Gliscor, like when you got Gliscor to like recover, even Comfy with its triage priority, Pelipper with Roost, like you can definitely tank some like fighting spam for sure, but there's some like Mega Luke. Let me pull up stats on Mega Luke since it's such like a big threat. But let's come on, Smogon, work with me here. So it's defensive wise, it's only got 88 and 70, so it can take hits, but it doesn't want to.
Yeah. So he even said
the longer is definitely worse.
He even just said the longer the match goes, the worse position he will be in automatically just by purely by his draft. And I would agree. This is a draft that really needs the always put up the pressure, and this is where I think my draft is superior on his. Uh, Without even wanting to sound rude, is like my team can put up more pressure. My team can has these my team can just snap out pressure one by one, and there's no Pokemon that ever loses power. Meanwhile, Porygon 2 is a Pokemon that is very commonly way too defensive for drafts, without like certain special whatever weird tags. Um, like it just usually doesn't keep the pressure up, and that's something that is fine if it accomplishes a very, very strong, unique role. Like, for example, Blastoise is the same. Blastoise doesn't put up as much pressure as other mons, but it has Rapid Spin to complement the team. So it's good for hyper offensive because it clears rocks.
And also, if you throw back to
If you say
season 3
Tangrowth
with
doesn't keep up pressure, I just want to point out that Tangrowth has a lot of control on the board because of stuff like Leech Seed, Toxic. It has a lot of HP. It can knock off the opponent's item. So if it's an item that is really important for the Pokemon, like Scarf, so it really does put up more pressure than Porygon 2 on that end.
and also like
I
throw
think
back
my
to season
biggest
3.
concern about his team is it really doesn't like rocks.
No, it doesn't.
And if you put up rocks and then you start spamming like close combat, it looks like the team is just gonna fall really quickly.
So basically, would you agree that he should pick up a Ghost type?
That's one thing I noticed. Another thing that I noticed his team is lacking is a grass type.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
In that case, like something like Gorgeous or Gorgeist definitely could benefit him. Jokes like I know you're saying like I'll pair wear together, but in this case, like it could be like more of a benefit to him than he realizes, especially since nothing on his team, similar to my situation, like there's not much of my team that can really like endure fighting, but it's like have like similar ideas, and because like we've got bulky backbones, we've got roles mostly covered, except like when it comes to certain spam, like we may be vulnerable. Like when I would like just to comment on mine like real quick, like I was trying to avoid earthquake spam because that had been like one of my fatal flaws in season 4, and so like in doing so, like I may have opened myself up to other spam as well. You say grass is ass, and I hate running with those weak to so many common things. I do agree that a ghost would be a big help, though. Well, all right then.
I think Gorgeist would actually make a team more scary, even though it is also grass. As I said, Gorgeist is in draft, especially because you get all forms, right? So you can pick the very bulky one, and it takes a lot of hits and it complements each other nice because it's low tier, so you don't invest a lot of the offense power from your team. But you get a lot out of it. You have a lot of options. You can put up weird sets. So yeah, you can just do a lot. You can even now there are people that use adrenaline and certain Pokemon and just give them an orb or something like that. And Gourgeist has the move that changes the opponent's ability. They switch the ability. I don't know how the move is called, but then Gourgeist has the adrenaline, and the opponent Pokemon has a shitty, useless ability, and that's that's a really niche trick, and really helps out Porygon 2 again because Porygon 2, obviously the more common adrenaline mons are physical and use fighting moves.
Austin just pointed out the move's called Trick or Treat.
Could possibly be that one. I don't know.
Yeah, the other Ghost Grass has a similar thing called has a similar move called Nature's Curse or Nature's Power or something like that. I'm looking it up right now, but it's a move that turns you into a grass type.
Yeah, there are two. But so in general, I think even though it sounds like such a joking one, it's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Just wait for Ryan to shit on me now.
Yeah.
Now, Gorgeist is good. Since you get all 4 forms, you can run the big Gorgeist for a more defensive one, and if you're worried about knockoff, it can still tank it if you use the Culver Berry, which is pretty nice. Gets reliable recovery with Synthesis. Can also use Leech Seed.
Shadow Sneak just to chip. I mean.
And then you can also do. You can also go for the smaller ones if you want to hit a bit harder one week.
Yeah, also they get increasingly faster. They will never just be insanely fast, but they are not slow at all.
Mm-mm.
So yeah,
Looking at the coverages, like, I mean, and being ghosts, most ghosts, or at least a fair few ghosts, will have access to Will-O-Wisp. So like, and as we've seen in draft past, like having Will-O-Wisp itself just like is such a game changer, which compels everybody to draft put mons with or fire type mons, so at least they can resist. And then having physical fire is just like defeats, like counters the whole Will-O-Wisp motif even twofold, because not only does it stop the burn, but it's a physical offense that can't be stopped. So it's like mons like Darmanitan, Entei, Mega Charizard X, Infernape, Arcanine. These mons all hindered by that, and not to mention a couple of those can throw Will-O-Wisp right back as well.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, that's my opinion on the team. I think it is, while every team has weaknesses, and even my team can be dismantled. Like Ryan said, there are a few weaknesses in my team. I think Austin's team is easier to take down because the weakness to fighting and as Ryan said, the rocks is just, it's basically shining towards you. It's looking at you like, oh yeah, please don't bring fighting and rocks.
yeah,
And
and
that's,
Psychic actually.
yeah. So maybe
Austin was well.
maybe cover these bases. If he covers these bases, it's like the draft is definitely there to take down slower teams. Slower teams will have problems with the draft because they can't hold up the constant pressure, and that's something. Mega
I
Lucario
think he.
obviously easily tears down walls.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? He can use like similar to in season 3 when Frank drafted Pelipper. Frank drafted Pelipper and he used Quillfish as his Swift Swim on. Like he does have that option where like I don't think only Dank drafted Rain or drafted any weather really. So or no, actually I take that back. Josh Harsono drafted T-Tar. So if when you're playing the weather game, like he's like most of his opponents, I don't think will be able to stop him. And so like at least if he wanted to use the Seismitoad Gambit, like he could. I just saw a message he's got. Who does Ryan have as? Oh, Ryan has Torkoal as well. Okay, so
Yeah,
4. But even so, like a majority of opponents, like Austin will still have that to lean on, whereas others can't, or will have to use things like Prankster Weather. Because I think it was Luigi who took the Whimsicott, which has Prankster, so we can put Prankster A if need be.
yeah.
But like,
The thing with Rain is, and now that's what I did like last season when I put hydration. And everyone
yeah,
was
that doesn't.
going mad live because it is an asshole move, right? It is like, well, you play Rain, I will just use your Rain then.
Yeah, and like another thing with that was planning for since Dank was one of the big threats with Coco Lucha, like putting Electric Seed on your team. It's using like in general, it's a strategy of stealing your opponent's advantages for yourself, and like if you can use that for if like using terrains to boost your moves or their their perks, like taking advantage of like Misty Terrain's ability to not get affected by status, or Electric Terrain's ability to not put you to sleep. If you by stealing those advantages for yourself, like that's I think what helps you prepare better, or like in your prep, like if you account for those things, like like if you were to use Rain against Austin somehow, or somehow make use of it against him, like you could definitely like do some damage there.
Definitely. Yeah, it's like also, like let's say he puts up Rain and now I have Keldeo, and like you have very few things that switch into Keldeo boosted and Rain hydro pumps. That alone is like a huge threat to his entire team by his own strength.
Yeah, man, Darren we should still be here taking notes on this, because Manaphy with Tail Glow, Hydration, and then the Rain will just like boost. Like, the Hydro Pump will just like demolish him. You got to bring water absorbed Swift Swim Toad.
Yeah, the
Austin.
multiple ability. Let's go. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, there's just so th- like the team has a great base, but I think it lacks the topping to push it off, to push it over the top, right?
And I could be wrong, but I feel like, and like Austin's here, so he can comment. I think he like definitely pushed to support Mega Luke as best as he could, and so it's like as long as his execution on point, I think that's where his team will shine. And he still has other standalones to pick up the slack where he can't. But just but at the same time, like he has to like if he plays against someone like Pat or even or Darian who's got the bulky backbone, I think he's going to like he can't his team will not be able to survive for long term. So like what he was saying before is like the longer I go in a match, he's going to be in an awful spot. So like Lugia, Dragonite with their bulk, the couple of Amoonguss with regen, and then Darian who's got like Ho-Oh, Giratina, able to also just and the not Mean Shallows another can't remember the other one he took, but essentially like and so those ones are gonna be those will be the problems for him. But otherwise, like time performance still
like
good
here
though.
here we can see what something that what I was telling about your team there, where I was said it's slow in the sense that your fastest monster can't be scarfed because you would waste an item slot because most of the times don't need scarf. Austin's team, the completely opposite. He has a great amount of Pokemon that can use scarf to its fullest potential.
Oh yeah, like like the ones who are like above average speed, the above 328, like Infernape, Deoxys, Thundurus.
Latias can definitely put up that damage with the Scarf too, even though I prefer the defensive range too. There is I
Yeah,
played a Scarf Gliscor in draft leagues before because it can deal a lot of damage, so don't underrate that one. Yeah, Scarf
yeah,
Thunderous Terrain also works out well. So he has like the thing with a lot of good Scarf Pokemon.
oh for sure. Um, however, keeping balance feels to can't just bring. Austin agrees. Scout Glycor likes the. Sounds like the tech to bring versus Lauren as a nice shout out. That I was gonna bring Scarf. I was gonna bring Scarf from Mewtwo against Lauren if we get matched, just as a shout out to this as well.
Yeah.
But how about so it looks like Darius wants to talk about his next. Want to wrap up this one and like with a rating.
All right. So I think this is a team from all the ones we looked at. It's positioned like a little more on the bottom because there are so apparent weaknesses. I think he can fix them with small changes. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it's again, it's another like execution based one, but I think like standalone. I mean, still got plenty to be satisfied with on this one.
So Darius really wants us to talk about his draft, so I would just tag him so he can listen in, and then we can start on that one.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't look like he wants to talk about the draft, but
Nah, he can't talk about it, but he wants to listen in while we talk about it.
yeah, let's see. Oh, David said, just
yes,
tell
chat
Darius
muted.
he's asked. Okay, Darius, your draft sucks. There at the end. JK.
All right.
All right. Let's actually talk about it. Go first,
So,
more.
well, so let's wait until he listens in.
Yeah, he's not listening right now.
Yeah, he's not. He said we should tag him. I tagged him, but he didn't see that I tagged him, so give him a second. God, I hear this. Oh boy.
Wants to be next, doesn't listen.
Yeah,
David
it's
with the
true.
shade.
It's
Damn it,
true.
I kind of want to talk about David now. Let's see if we.
I mean, honestly, Darius has to come. Like if Darius doesn't join Nerf in the next few minutes, I will just start with another team because
Yeah,
I want
worst
this
comes
to be
to
done.
worst.
Yeah. Well, we can
Worst,
we
we'll just go
can give
anyway.
an overall. So we looked at a few strong teams, right? We looked at a few very strong teams so far, and
Mhm.
so we often talked about it comes down to execution or it comes down on playing well, right? But um, there are teams that are strong when you play them right and get dismantled when you play them wrong. But I think there are also teams where it's like pick Kalen's team. It's a team so straightforward that you basically can't misplay it. So
Speak of the
it's
devil, he just commented actually.
yeah.
Let's see if we can get him to listen in.
No, he's at work. He's just trying to roll. Honestly, uh, I would check Darius like another 3 times just to piss him off.
Yeah, why not live once. Let's see what you got. I got we got 2 in
Thanks.
there. It's like
How
saying Pat's about to follow suit.
can I just click the voice chat? How are people too stupid to use Discord? He's already in, but he doesn't listen in.
Yeah.
He has his sound muted.
Dylan, can you hear us?
And Kalen just decided to play off music. Oh my god. You guys are the
Kalen.
worst.
Oh, you guys can hear that too? My fault.
Yeah.
It's all good. No worries.
That's
Dwayne's
just,
also here too. Hey, Dwayne.
that's just my job is radio. I'm on break right now.
Oh, Kalen is a radio. It's his job.
Yeah. Also, since we got 3 of us in here, it's Sunday.
Bro, how
Is that
loud is
Shield?
that background?
Hey,
Yeah,
Kalen.
Shield is in here too.
Hi, Shield.
I'm just
That's the
taking
first
in
time I think I've
another
heard your
time.
voice.
Yeah, Kalen can I play music as well when I join back? Yeah, it would be nice because I don't know if you noticed, but if I upload this and someone decides to strike the upload because of the sound, would be really sad.
Mhm. I'm gonna try this over the video once. Hey, Kalen.
Yep. What's up, Shield?
Come on. I was in Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
Sunday. I always think it
Sunday.
like I always imagine it's like this big buff wrestling dude like Sunday, and then he's like putting a flexing his muscles on Sunday.
Yeah, can't forget Rich, man. Love that. Love what he represented in a short time.
He's really fun.
Yeah.
Stupid but fun.
So
So fucking Darius doesn't want to listen in, I guess. So I will just straight up go to Kalen's draft now, because Kalen is actually here and blasting us with way too loud music.
Taco Bell soundtrack. Drop it right now.
Make Kalen explain. Kalen explain what? His bad taste of music in the background, or
This isn't even my playlist.
this isn't even my final form.
I'm gonna move to
let's
a different
see.
spot. 1 second.
All right.
I mean, you'll probably hear more music, but you'll hear less voices in the background. I hope.
Thanks. Watch Darius now coming back. It would be literally straight at
His microphone is still off, so I don't think we'll see him.
His microphone will be off all the time, but his sound is what I'm always trying to catch. And meanwhile, Dwayne also joined.
Yeah,
so
we could get him as well. Why don't we do? We'll do Kalen's and then Dwayne's next while we got them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I want to talk.
Dwayne has a really bad connection, as I can tell already.
Dwayne, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. I'm using the restroom.
What's up, Dwayne?
What's going on? Can you hear?
Okay, so we have Shaquille O'Neal and Dwayne The Rock Johnson in one call. This is a great time. This is a great time, guys. All right. So, Darius has unmuted his sound, so we can actually finally talk about this draft.
And now he comes. See, damn it, Kalen, you jinxed it. Not Kalen, Lauren, you jinxed it.
I can tell when people come back. I told you, as soon as we decide to start with someone else, he will be back. Easy.
All right.
All right, let's
All right,
start
quick,
with
quick, quick.
Darius. All right. You start
Cool.
off this time.
I'll take it. All right, so looking at it, oh yeah, he didn't want to talk, did he? So, all right, so he's leading off with Pheromosa again with the aliens motif. One more shout out to Lauren because he loves his aliens.
Why do you always
We've
say
got-
that?
Literally drafted like 3 Ultra Beasts in the last draft, and I mean it worked, but like you still drafted so many of them.
But if it works, it ain't being love to aliens. It's being love to things that work.
Yeah, it's love to the aliens. Anyways, yeah. Anyway, so Pheromosa as a Pokemon and not an alien.
Well
Boasting
observed,
good
mister.
attack and special attack and speed. Plus its Beast Boost will put speed over the top. So it's like if you can't shut it down, like it will definitely like outrun anything you put against it. I mean, it's at that point like it is excess speed, but if you got something that can tank it, like against, then you won't need to worry about it sweeping. So that's where I feel like the Pheromosa is good, but also is double edged essentially.
Also, something
you
I
got
want to
Heatran
point
as
out with Pheromosa is what I also I did sometimes is this is a mon that's very fast, but you can also still put the scarf on it to get the attack or special attack boost, which is really useful.
Yeah.
yeah.
Pheromos is like a diet Deoxys in a couple ways.
Diet Deoxys. What?
And the anorexic Deoxys.
Yeah, it's like Deoxys when it's decided to finally skip leg day like 20 times or something like that.
Let's pick it. Let's keep going. We got Heatran, the reliable fire steel, good rock setter, great defense and like attack and special attack all around. A little
resist in the book.
Basically, yeah. We'll die to fighting, but like, and definitely will die to earthquakes, but like, that's where reliable support will definitely benefit. And on that note, like just skipping around a little bit, he's also got Staraptor Rotom Wash for that earthquake coverage, and then it's same with Golbat and low key Mega Altaria, but like even though Altaria like only when it loses its Mega form though, so at least like he can support that ground weakness. Mega Altaria like good versus either as a physical or a special attacker.
It's
like
really fat, which is something I'm a fan of. It can be a really fat sweeper, really quick.
Oh, who would have thought that Kalen likes Mega Altaria?
Hey,
Wings for Marie, man.
That's my girl.
That's your girl. It is. It's Darius' girl for the foreseeable future, unfortunately. But hey, you know, it's still like, I mean, it can do it with Pixelate. Like it can turn Hyper Voice and Frustration / Return into a good weapon. And like I feel like with Ryan, who I know is listening right now, will have to like, if he wants to revenge sweep, like he's gonna have to be careful because if he styles his Ditto wrong, which I think like both. But anybody who takes like Mega Pinsir, even though it's not in the draft, Mega Salamence, like anything that like can copy these boosts and whatnot, like it can copy the Pixelate, but like it can't copy happiness. So Frustration Return is going to be either an asset or it can be a hindrance.
Right.
How it's set up, but more on that later. Rotom Wash, great typing. Also with its immunity to ground, it takes its electric weakness out of the equation, and it's just neutral to electric and only really weak to grass. So that's nice. superior.
It gives him some Volt Switch, another defogger.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah,
Will-O-Wisp.
can I just point out how amazing I think this draft is by design, from the fact
Yeah.
that he just took his tier 1 dead last. Like,
Mhm.
oh no, oh wait, I don't even have a tier 1. Let me just grab one. It's like,
Yeah,
it's so
he
great
didn't need
because
one the entire time.
he waited with it like till the last round because he knew, well, round 1 and 2 the people had all their tier 1s out, like round 3 or 4 all tier 1s out drafted, so he had free choice from the last ones. He didn't have to
Yeah, and
rush
also,
them.
what the worst part is I think I have to face him twice. So gonna be so I'm gonna be worried, but I'm also like we'll play it as we go, and hopefully like I can anticipate what he throws. But he's got already, like, before we even get to his fifth pick, like he's got good support all around. Like he's got the Dragon Steel Fairy core by default. He's got water, and I'm actually he does not have fire.
Heatran
Unless
is
I'm reading
fire,
this wrong.
mate.
Oh wait, Heatran is fire. Derp. I derped on that. Sorry, my bad. All right, yeah, then I take that back. He already has fire. He has fire, water, grass. Doesn't have dark fighting, psychic fighting, but like that's okay. That's something you can live without.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which
Wow, I
what
totally lost it.
so what I like about
Actually,
this
hold
draft.
on.
Oh
I'm
boy.
here.
No, he does. He does.
So
Solgaleo,
what I
yeah,
like
Solgaleo is psychic.
have all those.
what I
I have
do
a
like
fighting type
about
with
the
Paramosa.
draft.
Most
I,
Go
this
Sneasel
is
and
madness.
Solgaleo.
We all just start talking at the same time. I will just talk now, and you will just listen because I wanted to stop my sentence 4 times. All right. The thing
Oh, he's
like
talking.
the thing I like about the draft is that Heatran, or in general his team would be weak to fighting, but then you just stick the Mimikyu there and Mega Altaria, which both are decent against fighting. Mega Altaria a little less than Mimikyu, but Mimikyu is a great pick for this team because it accomplishes that it's a strong fairy and it's a ghost type, so his fighting weakness is not as bad as it was before. And now I'm done.
And it gives him another priority option with Shadow Sneak.
Yes. And now if Darius wants
Yeah.
to talk about his draft, he can just shout us all down.
Yeah.
No,
Listening in now.
I have to go in a second anyways, but yeah. I do have a dark type with Sneasel, so and another
Yeah.
priority mon. That actually is why I waited for that. On top of that, fighting with Paramosa, and then I needed my psychic. So
And you
I
got
figured
Solgaleo.
tier 1 had the best sidekicks that I could probably get that was remaining. And so Galio covered that spot perfectly. Obviously, I didn't
Yeah.
really want the ground weakness with Solgaleo, but that's kind of why I covered that with like all the other things that are immune to ground. So
Yeah,
that's actually
just
why I
for
went
some
Gold Bat
reason.
over another poison type. So, but yeah, I got to go again. So I just wanted to say that really quick.
All right.
No worries.
All good.
But he still listens in, so yeah. The thing about this draft in particular is, it is the I don't know how to call it. It's like the trap in itself because this team is a little weak to priority, in my opinion, because Pheromosa is good to revenge kill, right? Pheromosa can revenge kill because it doesn't survive as much. Well, Heatran, different story. Altaria, after boosting up, usually is not on the fullest of health, so it can be revenge killed with priority. Roland Wash again, out of there. But Superior can be revenge killed, Staraptor can be revenge killed, Donphan, kinda, sorta, by special ones. Mimikyu can be revenge killed, usually by priority. Golbat is just sitting there. Sneasel can be revenge killed, and Solgaleo can be revenge killed by some specific priority moves like the Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punches especially. It can be revenge killed. So what I think the team is weak against revenge killers.
I think so, but at the same time, if he can generate like, if he given the mons he has, he can like. One thing and like the thing I like about this draft in general is that he can bring like you have more use out of all your 11 mons. You don't just have bench warmers. You can actually like rotate them pretty freely in this one, or more freely as opposed to the previous ones, and you'll still have like less niche mons and more straightforward short straightforward roles. I think that's what he did really well in this one. And also, yes, now that I'm like actually paying attention, like now that I'm seeing like he's covered his cores nicely, like but the revenge killing I think could be a big issue. I think that's where Donphan and maybe Golbat will definitely and Rotom will definitely be an asset for. Solgaleo / Nebby, get in the bag, Nebby. I
Steal
think.
Nebby.
Oh
Mhm,
boy.
Yep. I think in terms of psychics, like he's right though. Like going into tier 1, that's where we found the best psychics. And looking there, like you see that like Metagross, Mewtwo, Solgaleo, Lunala, Necrozma, Wings, aka as I like to call him, Stolen Nebby. Yeah, like lots of good Deoxys attack. And even in tier 2, like plenty of good psychics. So I think Darius made when he was just here just now, he made the right call on that front. He's done a good job covering his bases, and more or less, I actually like looking forward to seeing how this team performs because like elementally, and then like with some, I think the only thing I'm worried about for him maybe is a little bit of bulk and like outlasting, but otherwise, I think like he can play a pretty balanced game with some offensive elements.
So I think the team is definitely a good team, and but it needs a lot of clean execution. It's not as straightforward as Kale's team, for example, where it's basically like every mon is so clear in its role that it's like easier to perform with it, but it's easier to take out with it. Like compared to that, Darius' team is harder to perform, but when he performs well with it, it's harder to take down too. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, like
it makes sense.
it's similar. I think it's similar. Yeah, like how Darien also he had like his team can be good with the right execution. It'll have some things here and there that may hinder it, but I think like if his execution's right, it will be less clunky as he believes it to be. But I mean, that's like Dank said before, that it's all based on the execution at the end of the day. So I think Darius can still pull off, like based on his minus performance, like I think he can still do like a lot of good work with his team, the way it is now. But it's going to be match dependent, so it'll be interesting to see. I'd say it's like.
I think
I think
it's
it
like
could make.
top 8. It's somewhere in the top 8.
Yeah, I think so. At a glance, like we're gonna have to really judge these drafts carefully because now this is what, number 6 or number 7.
Yeah, but
Draft
I
starts right now,
already
so.
pointed out like Austin's team is not top 8 for me at this point because it's like
Really?
too easy to take down.
But
While
also, if left
but it's easy to
unattacked,
fix, right? It's easy to fix. That's the thing. So yeah, but I would say Darius' team is pretty good actually in general. Just it needs a lot of good performance, and that's where we will see how he plays as a player. And if he plays it well, he can easily dominate the board on a lot of opponents. And if he falls off, then he will have a hard time with this team. That's
yeah.
just it.
Pat, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
One other thing I want to point out on this team is his team discourages rapid spinning to get rid of hazards with Mimikyu. So that's going to force a lot of people to run defog. But he can also take advantage of defogging with Superior as well.
It's true. It's
True,
true.
yeah.
He's like he has dedicated defoggers, like in the guise of Rotom, Golbat, Staraptor. Even if not, it would be kind of a waste. But if he really wanted Altaria, but and I looked this up just now. Pheromosa is a rapid spinner.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
One, it's if you face a team that really relied on hazards, I think Faramosa with its speed tier will definitely be able to clear those, provided there's no ghosts. So it's like almost like an emergency kind of thing, because Faramosa has so many other uses as well. But like still, it's
what
still
I
something to keep in mind.
what I want to react to Ryan to, I think I can agree with that. It's Rapid Spin because of MBQ doesn't really isn't really as nice. I think the fact with Rapid Spin why you don't want to Rapid Spin as well is because his team has, at a glance at least, other than Golbat, no one that really loses pressure at any point. They can always put on pressure on you, and if you try to Rapid Spin, they can just hammer in a lot of damage and get the advantage. Make you either force switch out or sacrifice a mon just dedicated to get rid of stuff like Stealth Rocks. So you can really put up a lot of pressure there.
Well, Golbat can
Yeah.
also maintain momentum as well. It gets U-turn.
Yeah, so it can keep the momentum, but it's like it's not as strong in momentum keeping like shit like Pheromosa or like Sneasel or like Staraptor, which like have insane ways to keep momentum up.
And then there's Rotom with Volt Turn as well,
Yeah.
which I mean is still a momentum in its own right. It just easy. It's blockable momentum, but still momentum, and like not everyone's just gonna run like all ground. Also, I'd like to point out something in the chat that Pat has pointed out very nicely, that I count 7 mons that have hazard removal. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be a waste to bring hazards against Darius. Or I mean, but then again, pressuring him that way is maybe one way style of playing. But like still, what I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at least has hazard removal.
Pheromosa has
Aiden
hazard
listed all
removal.
of them though.
Yeah.
Eteria,
Yeah.
Rotom-Wash,
Yeah, so-
Superior, Ceraptor, Donphan, Golbat. Yeah, it is annoying to get rocks out, like a lot annoying. But yeah, it's definitely a team I can see perform well. But it's also a team I can see people like if Darren doesn't execute it with an A game can quickly fall down. But I like it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Kalen, since we got you here,
Wait. Didn't you say who's next? And someone said like add this wave emoji thing. Arizona Altaria. So we should probably, if you at least ask, actually respect the people you ask.
All right, that's fair.
Like just have a couple minutes left on my work break. But like Lauren, if you're recording this and like putting it on YouTube, like just link the YouTube video.
I'm always recording this, and you can, if you want your team to be analyzed within this part, this is the second video, and I'm probably making a third because I will not finish all teams. If you want it in this video, you can send me Austin, just like a text with with your thoughts on every mon. Or you can just come in next video, like just say I can see how time.
Okay, cool.
So yeah. So
all right, so
yeah,
David,
Arizona Altaria. David probably is not able to talk, if I remember correctly.
Might be at work, yeah.
Sadly work, yes. Alright, so I will kick this one off. And again, another guy picking his tier 1 dead end. Which is a strategy I respect, because you can dig in the strong lower tier mons faster. And so you can put up much more pressure on the lower tiers, and later on take a tier 1 that is still open, because all the tier 1s are still pretty much very strong. And yeah, so that's something really smart. So he has a great tier 2 in my opinion with Genesect. It's a strong Pokemon and it can sweep very quickly and get out of hand really fast. It has great coverage and that gives at least a lot of power on a team. Tapu Fini is a great pair to it because obviously fire resistance and yeah, completely fighting resistance. Really great to switch into from Genesect, and it covers each other nicely. Like you have the very strong offense from Genesect, and then you have a great defense from Tapu Fini, and I think it mixes nicely. Mamoswine is a great revenge killer in my opinion, and a really strong Pokemon in general because the earthquakes, the ice crash, the ice shards, it hurts a lot. Snorlax can get out of hand if the opponent doesn't plan around it accordingly. Crobat is pretty good. It's very fast, especially, so it's very fast. And Defog has Taunt, which is really annoying. Arcanine is a great Pokemon. I think it has Intimidate, if I'm not mistaken, so that's really good. Alaunamak also, again, like a good Talk type, a good Poison type. Gets rid of these Poison Spikes and just can put up a lot of damage and can pursuit trap, something we didn't talk about this far, I think, but pursuit trapping is very, very useful against a lot of these teams because there are a lot of strong Pokemon up psychic types and like there are a few ghost types, and pursuit trapping them is really, really good. Cofregigas, in my opinion, the best low tier ghost, like tier 5 ghost, really strong, really, really, really strong because it can take a lot of hits. It can deal quite a good amount of damage, and it blocks the opposing trick room because it's so slow. Pretty good.
Yeah, and if he really wanted to use Trick Room, like he's got Cofagrigus to set that up.
Yes.
And as well as Gardevoir too. To let Snorlax and Muck like go at to attack as needed. So he can definitely boost that.
Yeah. And he has Mega Gardevoir also hits like a truck, so it's a good wall break. The Sceptile is like it's alright. I don't think it's really strong, but it rounds up his Grassfire Water Core, even though it doesn't take a lot of hits. But it fits in the team in general because it's also it has a nice speed tier, if I remember correctly, and
It
so
does, yeah. Plus,
it
on top
can
of that, it has
does a lot of
Unburden.
yeah. It's probably one of the most fun Coca Lucha counters. Just give that Unburden Electric Seed and a move that kills Coco or Lucha, kills Lucha. Pretty fun.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Zekrom
120 base speed.
obviously deals a lot of damage, like a lot of damage. And is a
Yeah, with
great
Volt
dragon.
Strike. Yeah, it's got with looking at its stats, it's like 150 base attack. That's gonna break stuff. A little on the slower side, but then again, like since him and Darius had the same idea of like, let's build our team first. And then let's put a giant. Let's put the giant like god level thing at the end. So I think like that's a motif that he's going for, and like ultimately it's like given him a very balanced team. Whereas other people I think a majority of us went for our T1s first to make sure like we have something that's like that can be an immediate threat right away. I like his team because he's got a mix of fast and slow though. If only a little bit on the slower side is like my only concern, Crobat aside. Definitely is like one of those that like a player like Austin would definitely fear because it has the ability. It's more on the balance side, but it has enough bulk to like outlast like an offensive game. I think even you might, Lauren, you might have like some issues, but like if you have breakers, but like he has like I think he has the ability to adapt to those. So that's why I'm like, and if I had your draft.
Yeah, also something that the people in the group said, and that also I just noticed is obviously Genesect and Zekrom have a Volt Turn combo because Zekrom gets Volt Switch and Genesect gets U-Turn.
Mhm.
So that's really useful. Also, it's kind of fun because Zekrom is usually a physical attacker, so you have Volt Switch there, especially on the physical wards I bring in on Zekrom, and you can play Genesect physical or special, and have great coverage on all bases, and just put on U-turn. So if you play it special, you have a physical move on a special attacker, which is really fun.
Yeah, that's one of the like with a lot of these like super legendaries, like box cover ones, and even like the mythical ones. Like some of them have like ridiculously high attack stats on both attack and defense. So like they've got they've got the ability to do either role depending on what matches it. So it's like Zekrom can be, even though it has the mainly physical aspects, like it can still like fill a special attacking role as needed. The same with a lot of players for that to that end.
Yeah.
Like even Deoxys, like Luigi's, and we'll get to later, like has Deoxys, and he like so there's an example of one that he can do either one, and we should be scared. Like someone like Josh who has Naga Nadell, he can. It's mainly going to be special attack though, so it's like it's just going to be variable based on your opponent, but still something to fear.
Yeah, it's definitely a team that can put up pressure. A lot of pressure with the thing is that this type of pressure, it's this team has a lot of slow ones. Like Zekrom is not the fastest of tier 1, Genesect is not the fastest of tier 2, Tapu Fini is pretty slow, Mamoswine is slow, Snorlax is very slow, Crobat is very fast, Arcanine is decently slow,
Reasonably fast.
Makalolan is slow, Kofrig is very slow, Gardevoir is like 100 base speed, which is for Mega is pretty slow in my opinion, because you can't put Scarf on them and nothing. And Sceptile is pretty fast again, but that's the only thing. So he's more on the slow side, and that's something I
Yeah.
think could pressure him a lot because he can be outrun with a lot of speed. But then again, he has the option to run Scarf, Zekrom, or Genesect. Genesect has the option to shift gear for more speed.
Yeah,
So
like he definitely can
there are
do
options.
a lot of. He can do Scar.
And that's Shield lagging out.
Did I lose recording here for a second? No, never mind. No, he can do Scarf. He can do Trick Room, which I think against faster opponents is definitely going to hinder him.
He doesn't have any priority outside of extreme speed. Ice Shard,
Alola Mark has like Shadow Sneak too.
Shadow Sneak.
I think if you have
Shadow-
extreme speed as priority on Genesect, that's pretty much already settled your priority game on most ends. Because
Yeah, so
extreme speed is insane.
He has speed gaps, but it definitely. I don't think he's like compensate. What do you think, Lauren, Ryan, Dwayne?
I'm not sure. Give me a second. I believe him being on the slow side, his priorities make for it.
Lauren, what do you think?
So
my only concern is him being on the slower side. I think is going to force him to run certain sets that he might not necessarily want.
That's true.
that was what I was thinking too. Like you can predict that he will run some like Scarfmon, and he doesn't have the most options for Scarfmons because he needs the speed control from them. And so you can build according to like, so what are the possible scarves? Like Genesect is a decent Scarfmon in my opinion. Mamoswine is kinda but can definitely work as Scarfmon. You have Arcanine if you really want, but I prefer it as a wall. I don't know how he plays, but that one. And Seacom. And the others are pretty much not as good as Scarf, so you can always predict that one of these four will most likely wear Scarf to at least have speed control, and that locks him into certain sets on different ones too.
Yeah, so it's going to be predictable, but I mean, it was like we said before. Sometimes predictable doesn't mean it's not going to work. Sometimes even those predictable strategies are gonna be the most effective though. So it may work to his favor, but like if someone is really good at planning, like you know that Pat and Ryan are, we know that they like opponents like that are definitely gonna have the edge against him. But we'll see what happens. Execution again is gonna be more with him, but we'll see.
I laugh how in the chat someone said, "Oh, doesn't get exact E-speed," and they just missed that I said it right before that. That's great. Yeah, Arcanine gets E-speed too because someone said E-speed. I think they thought think about Arcanine, but I was only thinking about Genesect. I forgot that Arcanine gets E-speed altogether at the start, which is
See,
great.
yeah.
So he's
Again,
double E-speed actually.
further comments on Genesect, because that one I think hasn't been seen much lately, but since it has access to Technoblast, that's 100, and since he can change it to fire, electric, water, and ice, like he can adjust Genesect speed to like anything. He can use Genesect coverage to whatever it needs.
Doesn't it get Ice Beam? I think it does. Does it get Ice Beam? It gets one
It
of
does,
these.
but
Yeah, like if you run Ice Beam and then you run the Electric Technoblast, you have basically both beam combo coverage, which is great.
and on the flip side, you have Thunderbolt as well. You have
Yeah, you have Thunderbolt as well.
Oh, yeah, Flamethrower too. He has Flamethrower, Thunderbolt. I don't know what other water coverage he has, if any at all. Hidden Power Water.
Yeah,
That's about it.
but I think if you run Bolt Beam, for me Bolt Beam coverage is like great, and I prefer the electric side more. That's why I would run the Electric Technoblast. Others would run Ice. You can also run the Fire one to get like the Bolt Beam coverage and then a strong Fire type. Or you can get Water, but I prefer the Electric one most, honestly. But that's
because
just me being weird.
like Genesect has the big, like I call them the big three because they're like three of the most commonly used moves. Like you've got Ice Beam, Flamethrower, and Thunderbolt, and then he's got Technoblast with all three of those elements plus a Water Technoblast. So it's gonna depend. So honestly, it's gonna depend on the opponent he faces and how much bulk it has and how much power he needs to blast it into next week. So if it's like if the opponent is more vulnerable to ice but has a little more bulk to him, I'd be more inclined to run the Ice Technoblast. Whereas like if it's someone who's like more vulnerable to electric but is more bulky, I'd be more poised to run the electric Technoblast. So it's going to be based on, but he has that option, so that is really nice. And if all else fails, Genesect also learns Explosion. So I mean,
But I think in Showdown you always see which Genesect he has, which plate it runs because it tells you in the name. Like if you hover over it, it's Genesect and then come on Genesect and then whatever Douse or whatever. And so I don't know if I don't know if they changed that because in random battles you can't, I think, but it was in for it was for time, and that makes scouting for an item on it easier. So if you know it runs like the ice one, it can't be Scarf, which means that you reduce the number of possible Scarf ones again by number of one, which is already very limited. So yeah.
Well, let's see how he plays it. I think what do you think? You want any further comments, Ryan? What are you thinking?
My only thing I would like to add is I don't think he has the sets he's going to bring every week are not going to be predictable. I don't think, because he has a lot of options that I'm like. Some of his mons will never run speed, right? The Alolan Muck is going to be a pain in the butt to kill. Snorlax is going to be a pain. Crobat can even run a defensive set. And Arcanine has some crazy coverage. I mean, it's even got Outrage, right?
Yeah, that's right. Arcanine does have Outrage. So
Fun fact, obviously it is Ryan that has to say it because Ryan is the crazy guy here.
uh-huh.
So honestly, I'm still so bummed that I didn't get to play Ryan in the playoffs last season because I had such a great team prepared. He would have laughed about it all to this point because it was hilarious. I grabbed something to drink real quick while you can finish talking about this draft.
In terms of rating, I'd say it's like it's gonna be tough. It's bulky. It can outlast. Offensively, it's got some good options, but then there's nothing that's like. I mean, Mega Guard aside, like which can like break through a lot. Like
Yeah.
It's a tough sell, so I can't really put it like up there, but I'd say it's like among all the drafts, it could be like mid-ranked. I think, but I mean, I've seen David's execution with against the odds, so it's like knowing the draft alone, I'd say is like I like in like a middle rank, but I think with the right player, like it can easily be great. I mean,
Greetings.
I feel like with his team, it's perfect to me, but I feel like it just lacks recovery, like self recovery. Like he left it on leftovers a lot with most of his Pokemon.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like with Muck, like he's going to be reliant on the the recycle set if he wants recovery there, or Black Sludge. Same with Crobat. Well, Crobat's the only one with Roost. Actually, Crobat and Zekrom, I think, both have Roost. Feeny does not have any recovery, but I mean, usually runs leftovers. Snorlax also, so it's like it could be knockoff bait. I think across the board. Except for Gardevoir Mega, except that's the Mega Guard and whoever and Genesect will be the only ones immune to knockoff, but like all the other in terms of like the knockoff effect, everybody else is still like vulnerable unless they're Z users.
And there's something that also again Chad pointed out. I don't see a fighting type there. Fighting types are always nice to have because fighting types can dismantle a few teams pretty hard.
I mean, with the team that he has, does he really?
That's a difference you look at it. Like it all depends on how he executes. But fighting in general is a great type for the reason it's usually pretty easy to spam as soon as the enemy ghost is down, and a few people don't even have a ghost type, so it's pretty good to spam. And it can take down a few of the most annoying types, including the best defensive type in Steel, a good defensive type in Normal, and an annoying type in Dark that even has immunity to Psychic. That's why I like fighting in general as an offensive type, and that's why fighting as a type in your team is really useful to have. Obviously, you don't absolutely deadly need it, but it's nice to have.
Yeah, agreed. I was saying while you were gone, I was saying that like rank wise, it's just like it would be right around the middle, but like as a standalone draft. But with David's execution, I think he can definitely like get a good record through the season. But we'll see.
Yeah, I would agree. That's not a draft I would look at and say, oh, what a strong team. But it's not a team I would say, well, that's easy to beat. It's a team you have to get your head around. But I think it's not as bad to dismantle as some other teams we looked at already.
Yeah. Dwayne, Ryan, any thoughts? Any more thoughts? Or
no, just set.
So
I think I'm good.
what was it?
I was about to ask who who we should do next. How many are there left? So we didn't cover the Haluchas, so that's one. We didn't cover Venusaur, Scorbunnies, or Mantines. I saw that.
That's four more.
That's four. We
didn't
didn't
cover-
cover Muddale, so we didn't cover Phil. We didn't cover Empoleons. We didn't cover Lugias, and we didn't cover Necrozmas. That should be about it, right?
So it sounds like we still got about 8 left to go.
All right, so
why don't we do
should put
Haluchas
one
so
or
we're at
two.
least done with them? We're done with one entire division.
I
and
would like to go to Tampa Bay Mantines because Dwayne is here right now.
Yeah, sure. So actually, since you're here, Dwayne, do you want to take go ahead, like for everyone who's been here, like want them to like take the reins and like explain their draft themselves. So if you're comfortable, if you want to do that, like by all means,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I think that you guys can help me out with it a little bit. I pretty much come from a background where I don't use Ubers at all, so I'm not familiar with like Marshadow 100%. So I went along with something different, taking Zygarde since I know him from last season, what he's capable of. Looking at the power construct, I believe he gets half his health back. So what I did was I based my draft on around Mega Scissor. Pretty much I was just taking things that I knew that you guys wouldn't take. But I was more focused on my team's self-recovery, the pivot core with the Volt Switch and U-turns, and building a wall. That's pretty much where I was at. So like I'm familiar with Mega Scissor since I picked him up last season. I felt like I needed to run it back with him. His capabilities are just endless, having the priority, having the defog, being able to U-turn, baton pass, such of that nature. Landorus T, he's a given.
But yeah, you don't have to convince me on that one. You've been my guy for 2 seasons straight.
Exactly. Landorus T is a given. Terrakion, he was chosen. Just his typing is just amazing. Just having ability to scarf him with Stone Edge, being a rock typing, it just helps a lot.
Also, it has a great speed tier, right? It's 348 on full speed, so that's pretty fast.
Which one?
346.
The Terrakion.
Terrakion.
Yeah,
Terrakion is
346. All right.
346, so it's the same as like Infernape and the other two swords.
So it's pretty fast on that end, which I just wanted to point out. Pretty good.
And also real quick, he's got Espeon as well, so it's just 350 speed. So he's not shy on speed.
I actually thought I was lacking too much speed. But on Blissey, that's my favorite Pokemon besides Hitmonlee. I think it's the best wall in the game. It has everything you need from Healing Wish to Wish to Soft Boil. Klefki, I forgot what it was, but someone told me last season that I should have picked it up. I don't know what it was to pair with Mega Scissor. I've been doing my research on the Klefki, and it just works. It allows him to set up ground immunity if you have the Magnet Rod. He just works so well. He has access to fast, so it just helps a lot. I couldn't find an electric type that I wanted. It was between Alolan Raichu, Electrode, and Electrocross. And I picked Electrocross because obviously the ground immunity, and he both switch and he's on Drain Punch, Flamethrower. He's just versatile across the board.
Electros, by the way, fun fact, something I like to use against Mega Venusaur because Acid Spray makes it so that Mega Venusaur can stay in longer than 2 turns, because otherwise it just gets obliterated.
Yeah. Also, Electros is the only I think with its ability is the only type without any weaknesses. So it won't. So it can just basically like it's neutral to I mean, it just takes neutral damage to everything unless someone's put gravity or someone's done a tech to knock it down.
Or like a I feel like the only thing that can stop it is a mold breaker.
Yeah, something like that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, mold breaker, earthquake. But even then, like, it's still the only one without weakness.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
Yeah, let me just
Thoughts too.
just for Dwayne's sake, let me put the okay. It's got nice attack and defense, and its defense is or its defense is a little low, but it's still like it can still like I think could tank a little bit, but yep. Please continue.
Toxic pick. I don't know where I was going with this pick. I didn't want to go with reasons, and I needed another wall to go just in case I do bring him within a match. But I noticed looking at a Toxic pick, it's crazy having a regenerator, being able to use protect, set up as well. Just being set up bait is something that I'm not too fond with, and him being a what type he's reluctant to. Karen B was I feel like Toxapex Karen B. I don't really. I was already set with my pick after like Electros, so I don't really know what to speak on about them. I love his weapon. He's very hard to beat once he's behind a substitute. I don't know. It's like, let me just pick the Pokemon that I know. Noticed was that I try to surround my team around Mega Scizor, and hopefully that most of the teammates that I picked up that they had recovery moves or priority.
All right. So what I can point out on the team, what I immediately know, you love Blissey. Is that a thing about you, right? I remember Blissey from a lot of matches.
You do actually.
Uh,
You lean on that Blissey quite a
it,
bit,
it,
and
it,
Mega Scizor is another fixture for you.
it sometimes just randomly blows up, but otherwise Blissey is there. All right. What I noticed on the team is Bolt Beam really hurts you, right? Like I don't unless other than Blissey, Bolt Beam takes down like hits neutral everything other than Kyurem Black and takes down a lot of mons, right? So that Bolt Beam really hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but yeah, and I like basically you have no ghost, which is sad with a normal type wall like Blissey, but at least you have Toxapex to cover the fighting type because Toxapex is basically like a ghost. It doesn't get damage anyways, unless you hit it super effective. Just having a ghost obviously makes a fighting spam way more difficult. That's why I prefer ghosts over like other types. But I like the combination of Blissey and Toxapex a lot.
that's going to be disgusting to break through, even for some of the more offensive teams like mine and Lauren's.
To be fair, your team should probably break through the double combo because Mewtwo just one shots both. That's literally disgusting. Yeah,
going off of that, there is no dark type.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was about to say that a dark type would really help the team because Psychic really looks spammable against you, especially like now you see you have to face me, probably most likely because we are in the same division, and like my Metagross can damage like a lot of your Pokemon really really well because there's very hard to switch into it, and then there comes stuff like Keldeo, which can deal a lot of damage to Blissey and stuff like that. And mixed Greninja can deal a lot of damage too. So, yeah, that's like a dark type would have really helped. I think.
I could take a look, see what else you got.
A Lohan Persian, but I don't know.
It's the Lohan Persian. I think covers like a pretty decent speed tier. If you, I don't recall anybody taking it. And there's Guzzlord on the table if you really want that Dark Dragon and an Ultra Beast.
You know what else will work too? I don't think no one picked it up. What's the name of that water and ghost type? The mustache. The Pokemon with the mustache.
Jellicent.
Yes.
People said Jellicent, man. It's
Best
Jellicent.
description ever. The one with the mustache.
The one with the
nickname is Pringles.
That's great. That's actually great.
Pringle Man.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
But yeah,
it also looks like the team is a bit weak on the fighting spam as well.
Yeah, it's like the mixture. It's like psychic and fighting really hurt the team, and a dark type would really help for the psychic, and for the fighting a ghost type would really help. Like sure, Toxapex can switch into a lot of fighting types, but then psychic comes in and you have no switching into psychic at all. Like against the most common psychic types because they run like psychic and fire, and even if it's only HP fire, Mega Scissor is just gun, and so yeah, that's really tough.
that is true.
Let's see. What else can we say? And plus he has with Zy 100. Like he has. I mean, any Zygarde can throw 1,000 arrows. Like he can just hit everything. On top of that, I think I'm not sure if Zy 100 is the only one who can use the move Core Enforcer, but it's just like having a reliable spam that isn't outrage. Because Core Enforcer has a base 100 attack, and also Outrage would leave you vulnerable to confusion. So I think just having that is really nice. Let me just see real quick what kind of move Core Enforcer. So I thought for a second it's special. Oh, never. Actually, forget what I just said. It's a special attack. For some reason I thought it was physical, but I guess not. I mean, still an option, but I mean.
Also, to go to the 1,000 arrows things again, if he really wants to trap like some Pokemon, he can also go to 1,000 waves and just piss them off by not letting them switch out.
Yeah. 1,000. Yeah, I agree. Like, and plus, like with base 90, like you've got 1,000 waves, 1,000 arrows, 1,000 arrows to hit everything, 1,000 waves to trap. It won't be. It's not like a trap damage like Whirlpool or Fire Spin or Magma Storm, but like it's still
like
it's still something.
Just to go back to the match with me and Duan, like that will probably happen. I just see it coming that my Tangrowth gets 1,000 waves. I miss the Leech Seed, and then he starts boosting up, and I'm just getting fucked.
Like if he goes behind a sub, like you can't Leech Seed him, you can't leave,
and then
like that would break it. That would break a regenerator core.
That's literally annoying.
So I mean, oh man, maybe we shouldn't have given Dwayne the idea. Dang.
No, it's important to give others the idea because then you can.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
I'm just joking.
Because the thing is, they now in their mind they think, oh, that's a great idea, and I can play around it. No, but in all honesty, there's a 1,000 waves is definitely a viable move if you want to trap a specific Pokemon and just start boosting up and pumping out the damage then afterwards, because it is really annoying to deal with that too.
Also, it's one of the few Pokemon that gets Glare, and that's 100% accuracy with paralysis. So it's like Zygarde itself with its already decent speed, like can cripple in doing so. And plus, it has such high HP and defense, so that like it can last enough to like except against an Ice Beam or Blizzard even like get it to throw one Glare and permanently cripple a Mon if they don't have any clerical support, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's also what I think I dislike about the Lando T tier 2 pick is that your two highest tiers are both weak to ice. Like insanely weak to ice.
Oh yeah, you have Toxapex like that can cover that, like, and Klefki to a point. Like it's something to be really like be careful of, because that ice spam can hurt you badly. Like someone like David, for example, like if he wanted to use that ice techno blast, like that could really dent you if you're not careful.
Definitely. I'm just scared of people bringing like 4 Pokemon with like Ice Beam or Hidden Power Ice.
At least it's not gonna be minors where we're gonna have where people are afraid to use hidden power like for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, it's hidden power. Look, it doesn't have over 60 power. It can't deal much damage. I just remind to flashbacks to Zapdos one-shotting Nando T with HPIs.
of course you have to bring that up. God damn it, Lauren.
it will always stick to my head, stuff like that, because it's the same thing with the knockoff just ending my life, because these are the things that stick to your head, right? These funny moments, or these moments where you're like, God damn it, so close. And yeah, these are the moments why I played the game, and these are the moments I enjoy the most. Like the very close games, or these very trollish but working plays. That's why I always remember Blissey just getting blown up by a special attacker, because it's such a stupid idea that that it shouldn't
I'm
have
always gonna
worked.
remember that too because I had Protect and I told myself to use it. And I said, nah, there's no need.
Because I even switched the choice scarf on you, so if you would have protected, it would be like, well, this is awkward.
I think it was a crit as well.
I'm not sure on that one, but I don't remember. But like, these are the things where you're like, it's so stupid, it shouldn't have worked, but it worked because it is so stupid.
Yep. It's Draft
Yeah.
League. What's the next team?
So Ryan, you have to say something, or
No, I think that was all of my thoughts on this.
right? So definitely because of the abuse of the spammable, like fighting a psychic, it's for me like in the middle pack, somewhere around there.
I'm gonna step away for a minute, so I'm just gonna mute real quick.
Can definitely improve with like a dark type, a ghost type, or something like that. That makes the easy to hit weaknesses a little harder to deal to hit. And yeah, it's a tough competition. I gotta say, because I look at these teams and there are some very very strong teams out there though. So even though this team on like other draft teams, like in other drafts of us, would have been easily top 3, here it is like it looks like it could just be abused too much. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But there's definitely the errors can be fixed pretty much fairly easy. So
Let's see.
no, Shieldless just abandoned us. Hop on to Edwin next, because since he's in call, well,
Which team?
Edwin, someone said, because he's in the call. I guess he's Rivas 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
But I don't even know which what team he is actually right now. That's crazy. That's the problem with not knowing names. Honestly, guys, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I believe he's the Los Angeles Venusaurs.
Well, that could be it. Yeah. I'm just waiting for chat to shout at me, like, "Oh my God, you are so stupid! What the fuck?" Marshadow team. Yeah, fuck the Marshadow team, because I wanted to play a game with Marshadow and I was just like, nope. It is. Can't talk right now. No worries. We can, if you want, we can go over it. If you say, you can join like in whatever 10 minutes, then we just take another team before that.
I like his team.
I had a quick glance. It looks pretty nice. You guys can go over, but I will listen. All right. So then you can kick us off.
Just giving a quick look at his team. He's a special attack. He has a lot of special attackers. I don't really know Marshadow at all. Scizor having that great recovery. The pivot. The priority. Scizor's perfect. Hydreigon is another perfect Pokemon. Has the pivot. It can hit very tight with Flash Cannon. It can even go physical. I believe it has superpower, access to superpower.
Yeah, that's I think it's superpower, which I think it was superpower it has access to too. Yeah.
Yeah, superpower. I think it has access to earth power as well, which is pretty good. And it has self recovery. I'm big on self recovery. If you guys haven't noticed yet.
Oh, tell me more. I couldn't tell with your love to Blissey.
Primarina. I don't really know much about that either.
That's a thing of Liquid Voice, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Rotom Heat. That was a Pokemon I wanted this season. Outside of Stealth Rock, this Pokemon is better. There has access to Levitate, Will Miss, Pain Split. Just one of those annoying Pokemon, and its typing is amazing.
Yeah, also it has the good Will-O-Wisp, so Will-O-Wisp is always useful.
Yep. Lando, I don't really know much about that Pokemon neither. Although I did see someone use it that has access to Sludge Wave and stuff like that.
Yeah, it has Sludge Wave, Earth Power is very common on it. It can be, but usually it's played as a special sweeper with Calm Mind and stuff like that. It can Calm Mind. It has Rock Polish to boost itself up. So it is a great special sweeper with all the special moves that it has, and
Yes.
it has the sheer force, so it makes all the especially the Earth Power is very hard to switch into.
Mega Diancie. That Pokemon, it's crazy. Just having the access of Magic Bounce and most of his Pokemon surrounding him by the U-turn core that he has going on, or you just never know when to set up with Diancie on the field. Also having access to Moonblast, Earth Power as well. I believe what's the rock move that he has?
Diamond Storm.
Diamond Storm.
Which also is stupidly strong because it's physical, and Diancie Mega has a lot of attack, just as much as attack as special attack. So it can hit both ends with that.
I'm checking the stats right now.
It has like 160 or some shitty, what the hell, special attack and attack like that. It's crazy.
Oh, God. It has 160 attack and special attack.
Yeah, I called it. Oh, and she left us.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. And she is back.
Zoroark was another Pokemon that I had about 2 seasons ago. It's just unique having that ability.
The ability is good. Illusion, it lets you depending on what you have, it can if you play it right, like you can play trick, you can definitely play tricks really well, and that's just that itself can be like it forces you to really rethink like how do you approach the situation when you don't even know what's in front of you or not.
Exactly. I feel like Zoroark should always be combined with having access to U-turn. You know, you just never know. It has access to flamethrower, sludge bomb, low kick, sucker punch, short dance, knockoff. He's very versatile.
Edwin's
My only
like
concern with Zoroark is I'm not sure how well it's going to work with this team. It could work well if it's disguised as Tentacruel, maybe Bronzong or Nidoking. But I'm kind of worried that it's not going to perform as well as it could on this particular team.
I was about to
Because,
say it.
let's say it's disguised itself as Scizor, right? So we're gonna hit Scizor with a flamethrower or fire blast. Well, Zoroark doesn't really like taking attacks, period. So that still doesn't really work out for us that much. Usually, we're going to want to take advantage of, like I was saying, Tentacruel or Nidoking. So any psychic attacks aimed at it would be problematic. And then we could take advantage of like, oh, Tentacruel is immune to psychic, and then hit it with whatever.
yeah, like it's gonna be a mind game for sure, and it's like that's where like the types that are not blocked by anything, like flying, dark, bug, fairy, even steel, like there's no type immunities to those, and also there's no ability that catches those types. So that's where like those attacks will definitely, and like compared with Edwin's elemental coverage, I think that's those attacks versus Edwin's elemental coverage is what's going to force you to like that's how you're going to draw out Zoroark. I Someone will have to remind me, does its illusion last after it's broken the first time? Like if it survives and then switches out, can it come back and put in another
Yes.
illusion?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's easy to detect usually because it doesn't disguise with the right percentage of HP left.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay,
it's
so
fairly easy to detect usually.
So
it's still like one of those things that can set the tone for the match. When you set the momentum, it's like it can be, and with Edwin's like immense support, like he's got lots of threats right off the back that like he's got coverage, he's got strong attackers on all fronts. Like it's what's going to make facing Edwin for everyone in the yellow division. It's going to make it very difficult for them. So it looks like for Lauren, for Ryan, for the people right now, like for people tuning in right now, like for Pat, Dwayne, you guys are in for you guys are gonna have a fun time picking him apart because he's got a lot of good coverage.
The thing I am usually something I dislike about the team in general is like so you have physical, usually special, usually special, usually special, deals no damage but otherwise special, deals no damage otherwise special, and usually special. So he has like a lot of special damage that on Pokemon that usually are played special. Obviously, he can play a few of them physically, like the Zoroark with knockoff and stuff like that, or the Hydreigon, but they are strong on their special side. They are usually played special for a reason. And so I think the team is focused is so hard on the special side that special wards will be hard to take down. And so they really need Marshadow and Scissor to punch a hole in the special wards, otherwise this team will not get through some special wards at all. Like Blissey, for example, will just take a lot of hits from this team and will not go down.
Then again, it's all how the match is played out. Like I said, he has that access, that pivot core, which is it's difficult because you never know when he's switching into Zoroark or Mega Diancie. and I believe Zoroark has access to low kick as well, for problems like Blitzy and stuff like that. So
We
yeah,
need to have a
this
power ranking list, says Darian. After we finish the team analysis, I will just create one with like Pat, Shield, and like maybe ask one more guy, but I think Pat and Shield and I have a good view on how strong a team is compared to the others. So, but that
Yeah.
will probably happen then after we finish
Okay.
looking at our teams.
who is next? Tentacruel. Tentacruel has access to rapid spin, which is very good. Acid spray, knockoff.
Tentacruel, by the way, in my opinion, the best defensive Pokemon against Mega Venusaur because Leech Seed and Giga Drain hurts itself more than it heals. You have the
Well,
Acid Spray, which is really good again. So,
Yeah, not to mention it's a T-Spike setter and a spinner.
yes, so it's a pretty good matchup there.
And Edwin, I'm not gonna lie, Edwin went ham on this draft. It's scary. It's definitely like very scary because he's got Scizor, he's got breakers. Plus, like with Lando I able to use Sheer Force Life Orb, like that's gonna break. Deontay's a breaker. Marshadow can steal stats and turn into something deadly. Like it's, I'd be concerned if I was up against this guy.
No, I think the team has to be looked with like yeah, it's like the thing is the team can be picked apart just as good as it can pick apart. Like Marshadow can be taken down with like one good hit. Scizor can be taken down with one good hit. Hydreigon same. Primarina same usually. Rotom Heat kinda, not as much as the others before, but Lando I can be taken down in one hit. Diancie Mega doesn't want to take damage ever. Zoroark same. Tentacruel is the first really defensive Pokemon, and there's no water, fire, grass defensive core, so it's hard for him to switch into certain moves or certain Pokemon easily. So that's, I think, a trade-off. So he can be taken down with his own weapons.
Yeah, the problem with him is, I think I do see like, I mean, he has things that can potentially be scarfed, but at the same time, like there's a lot of he is on a bit of the slower side, except for maybe like Deontay,
Marshadow, mate.
Landorus, Marshad, on the most like majority though. Like you have like, remember how we were saying how David has let me just pull his draft so I'm saying the right thing. Yeah, David has like majority slow team, but he has Crobat, which is wicked fast. Like one mon doesn't necessarily define your whole
Yes.
team's speed though. So yeah, Marshadow's fast, but like everyone else is still like on the slower side, but yeah, with a couple of. So I'd say it's like mid speed, like mid, a little low, but
Yeah, Marshadow is in my opinion the best because it just has so much. It has priority. It can stat boost and stuff like that. So Marshadow is just insane. Actually insane.
yeah, no. Edwin made a very I think he made a very good decision picking Marshadow. Like not only using his first round pick very well, because if he hadn't, then somebody else would take Marshadow, and it would have put them in a much more dangerous position. Not only that, like Edwin was able to snipe. It looked like he sniped a lot of good picks, and also like was able to pick like some very decent mons along the way as well. Like he definitely sniped me with the Hydreigon pick. He sniped me with Rotom Heat and kind of Tentacruel, but I also at some point I'd let it go. But otherwise, like he was able to take advantage and like find really good personnel for his team. So
by the way,
Yeah,
that's where I think
incoming the moment someone wants to play a substitute power-up game. Not looking at Duan or anything with Zygarde 100%, no. And the incoming Liquid Voice Primarina just bursting right through that. I'm just waiting to see something like that happen.
yeah, if any Firemon was like if anyone Fire Mount was sub, you get Primarina will just run right through it.
That will be hilarious. So no substitute
Um,
setup Blacephalon for me that match.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. You can't. Plus, like Primarina is special bulk, so like you can't. So Blaze can't hide.
Yeah, he has the tools to do that, Daniel. He has the tools to break enemy key components, but I don't know. It's just like he also falls with the same pieces he breaks, in my opinion.
Agreed. All right, let's see. What else we got to cover on this? He's got bronze on for rocks. And if he really wants to play up the slower parts of his team, he could trick room, though he doesn't really need to. It's like he's not fast, but he's not slow either. I'd say mid. He's got as like an elemental breaker with that life orb sheer force combo again. So Edwin's really all about these life orbs, it seems. But I mean, just one. This is just one like possibility. That's never the end game though.
Yeah, double sheer force option is indeed interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that's a team. That's definitely a team. That's interesting. The thing about is like as I said, I don't see it outperforming some teams that we looked at it already. Like because it is so focused on some few specific Pokemon to take down the enemy team. I think you can prepare for that team well enough. But then again, it has a lot of great options if you abuse them right. It's hard to evaluate how strong this team is. It all depends on how creative of a player Edwin really is this season.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing this one go to work. I think this one could be a top 8 one. It's like it's like Austin where it can be picked apart. It's a very offensive draft. With some solid ones, but one that can also easily be taken down. I'd say it's a top 8er, but we'll see.
Yeah, Ryan, what's your opinion on that?
I think it could be top 8. I'm a little worried about not that many rockers are on the team. Or at least rockers that actually want to run stealth rocks, right? Lando I can have stealth rocks, but 9 times out of 10 you're gonna want to destroy things with it instead. Same thing with the Mega Diancie. Similarly with Nido.
Bronzong would be like the only reliable one.
Yeah, Bronzong is probably going to be something that gets brought every week.
Yeah.
He's probably going to bring Rotom Heat or Tentacruel, maybe both, for hazard removal, because his hazard removal isn't that great either, in my opinion. He could do it with Scizor or Hydreigon, but those really don't really want to. So there's some problem areas that I'm seeing. But it definitely has a bunch of breaking power, in my opinion.
Yeah, breaking power is like what would help. What gives Edwin his edge in this one. So it's like if he can compensate for the lack in bulk, and the lack in and some lack in speed, I think that he'll be able to be a big threat to everybody he's playing.
Yeah. So.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting team, I gotta say. All right, I got time for one more, and then I gotta sleep because I have to work earlier tomorrow. And then I will finish the analysis tomorrow or on Saturday. I don't know how much time I have tomorrow, that's why.
You could do. Let's see. Let's ask real quick. Who's next?
Daniel already wrote up. No, like Daniel, I don't want to analyze Kokalucha today. I will not go on about Kokalucha. I'm not about this live today.
Rip. Sorry, Dank.
This freaking guy. I'm not about that. No, you know what I want to talk about? You know what I want to talk about? I really want to talk about fucking Phil's team.
Oh
Because
boy, Phil.
because I gotta talk about Phil's team because I've looked at it a lot of times and I don't know about this team at all.
Which team is Phil's?
Meridian Muddails.
All right, so I could start this one if you want to take a break, Lauren.
All right.
Let's-
Yeah, Daniel has already pointed out my biggest concern with this team. It's pretty slow. Gavantula makes up for this at least, but he basically needs webs on the most of the games. So
Yeah, so
Kyurem Ride hurts a lot with its good stabs, and his Fire and Dragon is pretty good stabs in general, in my opinion. We all know he loves Celesteela, but he usually plays it bulky.
yeah, Dank, Phil,
Kyurem
excuse me,
Midas
sorry,
Ice.
not Dank.
Fire was Resham. Kyurem Midas Ice, right? But pretty strong. The Dragon Ice is still pretty scary. Celesteela, he
Uh-huh.
usually plays it defensive, not offensively. So it's probably going to be the yeah. I know he you can play it, but Phil doesn't do that.
Yeah,
I even played Celesteela offensively a lot already, but Phil is more of the defensive player on that end. And Tapu Bulu really shows how he plays, in my opinion. Tapu Bulu fits Phil's playstyle. Hard hitting but slow team.
yeah, like Volcanion is also like on the slower side, but with moves like Steam Eruption, Fire Blast, like it still hits hard and it really benefits from specs. But then again, it's also slow. Like he's gonna be really reliant on leading Galvantula if he wants to guarantee a slow people are as slow as his team. So gonna like to that end, like he's got Bisharp as well, which is Intimidate. It can catch and Intimidate and then use Defiant to gain it back plus one more attack. So it's like a pseudo setup. If he was to play any intimidators, or if even he was to get caught, if he was to get caught in a sticky web trap, like Bisharp can start sucker punching right away. Plus, its attack stat is like ridiculous. So the Dark Steel coverage makes it fighting bait, but also like
Yeah,
attack power.
what Daniel pointed out, and which I will just take a quick moment. He is in the division with these two strongest psychic type teams, with the team that has Mew and Mega Alakazam, and with Mewtwo and Tapu Lele in the same division. Bishop and Crocodile are two pickups that really will help him against these teams.
And it can, but the one in my case though, with the psychic terrain, like I can use it like he's gonna have to really plan for Lele because as soon as it goes out, it deploys psychic terrain and his sucker punching is instantly useless. And then after that, like I could do something to pick it off because at least its special defense isn't great, so I can still dent it with Moonblast even if he was to like use Iron Head or something.
Yeah, but in general, the two pickups of Crocodile and Bishop will help against these teams. I'm not saying they will automatically win him the games, but imagine he would have no dark types, or not two dark types, like only one. The teams could fall apart easily in no time against you two.
Yeah, definitely will be like those are definitely solid ones to have. And plus with Galvantula's with Galvantula laying down webs, like it's going to be problematic for any of us really, especially like Dank and me because both of us have fast psychic types that like I think like Dank could definitely enter with Magic Guard, so he would and then but then he'd lose it, so he'd have to like really, so we have to make the most out of Mega Zam's entry. Torpedoes, like you have to make the use of the non-mega form while you can prior to going mega and losing the ability.
Yeah. It will be interesting. Like I know Phil is a good player, so it fits his playset. This team, when I look at this team, I wouldn't even need the name to know it's Phil's team. Because it fits Phil so much. He loves Tapu Bulu, he loves Celesteela, he loves Pokemon like Bishop. So I think this team solidifies what he's good at. And I think that's a good step from him because last season he didn't do so well. Last season he didn't even make playoffs, which really pissed him off, right? And so he's going back to his roots, back to what he's used to, back what he's good at, and trying to hammer in these wins now with a really, really like bulky team that just takes hits and doesn't want to go down.
Yeah. In terms of other support, like he's got Crocodile, and I think Bisharp gets rocks as well.
If you ever play Bishop with rocks, he has like
yeah,
rock
it's
delay rocks, mate.
It's an option. I mean, I am by no means am I justifying that he should use it. I'm just saying like when you have these options and when you have multiple mons with these options, then like you don't have to roll compress and you don't have to be like this is my dedicated rocker because like we just pointed out with Edwin's like his draft was like short on like reliable rockers or like he has reliable rockers but he doesn't want to necessarily deem those as his rockers.
Yeah, but like see, the thing with Phil's team is Lycan, Rock Dusk, and Crocodile are two very reliable rock setters, in my opinion.
This is true. Yeah, like he's got good rockers on this team. He's got the webs. I believe Vileplume does get toxic spikes. So in terms, let me just look real quick. No, it does not. It does not get toxic spikes. So, and like he still has the two major hazards that he can deploy easily.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have any spikers on his team? 'Cause
I don't see any.
I think something I like. When I look at this team and every single time I look at it, I just see the Galvantula Kyurem White combos just sticking out to me. It's crazy how these 2 months they will decide on how his game will go. In my opinion, like he really hammers in with these one and. Yeah, like Daniel just wrote, you don't want to defog against Bishop because that could be devastating.
Yeah.
You
yes.
you have so many small synergies within this draft. Like you have the nice slow from Galvantula to put his low speed on a high up level. And he has like the mixture of like a few little faster mons like Mega Galate, which is faster than the 100 base speed, like faster than 328, so it can outspeed these 328 speed mons, which is really good in my opinion.
Yeah, Mega Galate's a solid choice, and also it can't be flinched. That's
yes.
huge.
He has the Crocodile, which can be Scarf, which can be Intimidate, Moxie, can lay rocks, has Knockoff, and it has a spammable Earthquake. Like there's so much like great small synergies in his team. I like it.
I like the synergies, and also that it's a good bulky offense. And like that it can take some hits and then can dish them, and can also have is strong enough to dish them back with efficiency. So it's definitely one to watch out for.
Yeah, and Volcanion also.
Austin, yeah,
they water absorb.
I know Austin just destroy this team. And is honestly, unless you have some serious breakers, it's gonna be tough. And if Phil plays it right, well, which I think he will, it could be a threat with the right he could really outlast a lot of people with the right execution.
Honestly, I think this team is actually a better version, a better defense, like mixture of defensive offensive version from Pat. Pat is even more defensive, and Phil has thrown away some of the defense to take these ones that really can hammer in the wins for him with the insane amount of damage. I still like Pat's team in general more, but for when it comes to taking down teams with offense, Phil has basically an upgraded version.
Yeah, it's some. We're definitely gonna have to be careful on this one. Hey Ryan, what are your thoughts? Ryan, Dwayne.
My thought is that this team is really weak to flying. It can also be very weak to fighting as well.
Oh, snap, he's right.
Halucha's his worst nightmare.
Yeah, Dank taking notes.
Coco Lucha will be the week where he just goes like getting 6-0'd.
Oh no, Dank.
My other concern is there's not a whole lot of hazard removal.
There's no spinners at all.
Oh yeah,
No,
that's
he has
something.
no spinners.
That's something I wanted to talk about in general. I don't know why people pick defog and no rapid spin, because I think the mixture of having both makes it hard to counter it. Because rapid spin, well, just switch in a ghost type. Defog, well, there are Pokemon that abuse defog, so having both as option is a really great.
Well, defog is more widespread.
Yeah,
so it's hard to even get a halfway decent spinner a lot of times.
Swallow gets defog, right? I think so. Yes.
Yes.
It does. Although with it,
Volcanion also gets it.
Volcanion does get it.
Volcanion gets it, yeah.
But the thing is that when you don't have a dedicated defogger in the first place, is like if you were like you would have to give up something to use it, but right, like.
But like
it's like with the rockers, like, if it's not a.
I don't know. If I would be Phil, I would never run defog. Because he needs webs to outspeed opponents. So he has to lay the webs, and he can't clear them himself. So basically, it would be way better if he would get a rapid spinner, because then he can clear opponent hazards without actually getting destroyed by removing his own hazards, because he really is dependent on them.
Mm-hmm.
So against an opponent like I believe it was Darius had the 7 hazard removals, right? Like, so on that, like Phil, like Darius is Phil's worst nightmare, because he'll have something. I mean, in theory, he can have something to clear any hazard, and without spinners, which is a good point. Like Phil's hazards themselves are going to be at risk, because like anyone can bring defog, and then his whole hazard game is shot, because like. To guarantee to set the mood, like he can lead Galvantula, but like he can't. But later he risks putting if someone deploys hazard, Galvantula can get chipped and then lose its sash. Like if so on that, like that's one where he loses his dedicated web setter, and when he does that, the speed game is lost.
His opponents can't really run defog,
because
at least
of
not without taking care of B-Sharp. Yeah.
Okay. Even so, like
on that front, he's kind of protected, but he doesn't really have anything that prevents somebody from spinning away all of his hazards.
And you mentioned the fighting spam too, because let's go down the list real quick. You got 1, 2, 3, 4,
5,
6, 7. 7 that will take neutral damage.
You get Kieran White gets hit super effective, Celesteela gets neutral, Volcanion neutral, Crocodile super effective, Bishop super effective, Lycanroc Dusk super effective, and Swallow neutral. But Swallow will die usually from most fighting attacks. Like, there's a lot of fighting weakness indeed. Tapu Bulu with Vileplume the only 2 Pokemon that can take a fighting hit.
I also see, and I could be wrong, but like with 2 of them. With only 2 things blocking this, I see a huge dragon weakness as well, because Bulu doesn't really run fairy moves to begin with. So only once Bisharp and Bulu are like not in the way, like dragon spam can really do a lot of damage to this team.
Celesteela still takes a lot of hits on dragon.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so maybe all right, fair enough. That's so a little less dragon damage, but even so, like it's still like a concern for the other 8 that do take the hit. Because at some point it's going to be like Steela is going to be worn down. Like it can take the hit, but it doesn't want to over time because Steela has Leech Seed, but no other recovery at that point. So you're going to want to pick off Steela.
Yeah, that's then it has some great ideas like Darien trading Excadrill to him. That's a rapid spin and a rock setter, reliable another. Or he could pick Starmie for rapid spin. But I personally like Excadrill way more on his team, because it also gets the great typing. The only problem I see with that is then he's absolutely reliant to take a ghost, in my opinion, because then he has a lot of steel Pokemon, which absolutely need to have a backbone, so the opponent doesn't just spam fighting against them.
I don't know. This is interesting. Just going down the list of what he has, it's hard to pinpoint anything like you were mentioning. I think he had 3 different types of
He can't pick
synergy.
up regular Blastoise because that is on my team. Because I always pick Blastoise because it's a reliable spinner and no one picks it. It's always open. It's open. Dalmas is a great option, I agree. Also fits well with the Tapu Bulu. You don't want to get like Power Whip from Dalmas in grassy terrain.
What about Trevenant? Right, no, it's not a spinner. Not a spinner. If you're looking for spinner, let's see what's left.
Hitmontop for Intimidate and Spin. Hitmontop is always a great spinner, in my opinion. And Intimidate is always great.
Yeah.
There's something like that. I think that would make absolute sense.
Let's see. What else can spin?
It looks like he can go for a Cloyster, which is
Cloyster does spin, yeah. Although it makes his fighting weakness a bit worse.
Yeah.
It's always these like Cloyster makes his fighting weakness again so bad that he absolutely needs a ghost. Like at the point where you get hit, like over 50% of your team gets destroyed by fighting, and you only have 2 Switchins that don't get absolutely cucked by fighting. You absolutely need options there.
He can use Starmie.
He could use Starmie, but I dislike the fact of Starmie because he already has a water type in offensive, and Starmie can't really take any hits. And I don't think it fits his team very well overall.
What else? I think, except for Steela and for Swallow and Bulu, I do see Earthquake spam being a problem because a lot of these do take at least neutral and super effective damage to Earthquake. So avoiding those, like Steel is still reliable no matter what, but it's just with the rest of his team.
I'm quite sure he took the Earthquake weakness into account, but didn't respect it too much because Bulu makes quick work of that. But if Bulu falls, he basically needs Celesteela or Swallow, and let's get honest, so he basically has to switch to Celesteela.
So with that mentality though, like you can predict, like you can force the switch in that way. So if the right in the right moment, like that mentality can like ultimately like hinder Phil when he does make that switch.
Also, is it me or is this team weak to fire other than Volcanion?
Yeah, I like 5 of them.
It hits
a lot of them actually.
Especially it hits Celesteela and Tapu Bulu, which is exactly what we're talking about. He needs to get away with these ground spam. So basically, his team is getting fucked by Pokemon that use fire and ground. That's actually a big weakness I just noticed.
With fighting as well too. Like he only has like one like dedicated 3-day. Never mind. Can't count.
So
he has enough that take fighting spam.
So
fire definitely.
that's the problem with this team. That's why. But this weakness I just noticed with the fire. You have fire, ground, and fighting, and Phil's team is always on the backbone. You
Yeah,
can't
like
you, you can't fight out of that. That's crazy.
Kyurem White is still ice, even though it has Reshiram's like fusion flare ability, like power. Like it's still ice, so it takes the neutral damage. It's the dragon part of it doesn't save it. You've got Celesteela, which will burn. Tubulu will burn. Volcanion will catch it because it's fire and water, so that's one up. But like people anticipate that. So then you've got Crook, but then Crook ground doesn't neutral fire. Bug will die. Bishop will die. Gallade will especially want to avoid fire attacks because of burn possibility. So yeah, his team. You're right. His team is very very weak to fire, except for Lycanroc and for Volcanion, which will resist it. But that's it.
But they will die to the ground attacks. So fire and ground. Yeah, no, that actually pushes down the team for me a lot because that's weaknesses you can easily abuse.
And the other types that we mentioned, like, will allow you to put dents in his team. So the bulky offense part of it will fall apart because he won't be able to, like, if you remove, like, he's got some assets on his team, but then they can easily be dismantled. So there's a lot. It definitely pushes the team down a lot. If in terms of the spinners though, like, I think among the suggestions, I think Starmie would help him avoid that fighting spam a bit, and also help him avoid the water spam, or the fire spam a bit. So I think if he wants to go back, I think he should definitely grab Starmie.
Now I like Starmie a lot more. True.
Looking at what his team needs, even if Starmie is on the weaker side, it still like might be what he needs to at least survive. But I will leave that up to him. We've thrown enough suggestions out there. Dank's listed it plenty. Also, shout out to Dank for listing so many suggestions and analyzing on the side. Wish you could be speaking with us, but that's okay. We'll try again tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, tomorrow or like Saturday because I have a long day tomorrow. Like I work from 7:30 until 7:30 a.m. till 6 p.m. So it will be a long day for me.
Yeah. So then in that case, like, any other comments on this team from anybody else?
I was just like, you guys touched up on the fire part, but I was going more in depth. I feel like his team is just like, once you put a Will-O-Wisp on most of his physical types, which is most of what he has, it's pretty hard to compete.
Yeah, he actually is lacking some. That's a really good point. He's lacking clerical support. Vileplume can probably. I think Vileplume has aromatherapy. Just checking around. Yes, it does. It does, but if that's his own. But at the same time, like with all the fire spam, this team has to endure, that's the least of his problems. Like Will-O-Wisp is gonna destroy a lot of it, and there's not enough like reliable bulk except for Celesteela that can tank those that can endure, so it's
this oh boy, this team is like honestly, this team might look like at the first glance it looked like a strong team because the offense is great, but the longer I look at the defense side, the more painful it gets for him. So I think this team, like, he should use some of these points to switch a few Pokemon to your up or something like that to really get these resistances in, because otherwise I don't see this team performing all too well. And
actually, I think that the points remaining is inaccurate because you can only get one tier 5 for free, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah,
like we were saying before, and it's like here in the chat, like every team's got its merits, but then like with some of these fatal flaws, like it's definitely something that like Phil is gonna need to adjust. And with only 3 moves to do it, like he's got to be very smart about these, or else like his gameplay is really gonna suffer.
What do you think, Ryan? What should he pick up? Like, what is your best option?
I'm not sure what would be some good options. there's just a lot of avenues to exploit on his team, so it'd be
Yeah.
kind of difficult to shore up those weaknesses in just 3 moves. He'd probably need to reach out to some of the other coaches, see if he can do some trades.
Yeah, I think that too. He might just swap half of his roster again, like he
he's
did
gonna
in the past.
That's actually the problem. If he makes one move, the rest of his team is like a domino effect. He either has to trade or make free agency moves.
Yeah, they're just like there are so many like parts he has to fix, like the fire weakness, the fighting weakness, the flying weakness Ryan mentioned earlier, the
spinning, the
hazard
lack of a spinner.
control, the hazard control on his side. At best having a ghost type to get his own hazard staying up against rapid spinners. Like there's a lot that need to be upped there. Otherwise, this team can too easily be bullied around.
Yeah, it's a really tough boat to be in for him at this stage, because he's got like there are some star players, but like without other things at other ends of the spectrum, without that balance, like there is not much. But like there's some good stuff, but it requires balance to let those aspects shine. And without
Yeah.
those, and without that, and like we've listed so many flaws and weaknesses that like his team, like yeah, his team has some coverage on those, but when as soon as they're gone, he's dead in the water for the rest of for the rest of the game.
Yeah, like
Jeez.
it's the same thing that happened with Dwayne last season, where his electric switch-ins were so bad that he had to rely on Blissey for special electric attacks, and as soon as
Yep.
Blissey was gone, he had no chance to stand up against electric types. And I think that's the same problem with Phil this season, that as soon as one
Yeah.
Pokemon goes down, the entire type will just roll over him, and that's a really big problem. No, that's got to be one of the bottom teams from pure draft, in my opinion, now, because it has too many weaknesses that are too easy to abuse.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. In terms any other comments, guys, or
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah. I'm set.
Yeah,
Ryan?
Darian is allergic to Excadrill.
Darian, let's see.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna ask him in chat. Darian, are you allergic to Excadrill? Dank is gonna appreciate that one.
Yeah.
Ryan, got any more comments? We've kind of really like.
No, I think I'm good for right now.
But what if you got anything else that you've noticed, because you really like brought out some like really major flaws in this? Yeah. Anything else, Ryan?
Nah. I think that covers most of the issues that I saw.
Yeah, so we just took down Phil's team entirely. I feel so bad because the offense is great, but the defense is so bad. That's crazy.
Maybe I think David may not be competing for last, but I mean, we'll take a look at the rest when we get there. But
well, the next time we record, we will finish up. So this will be the second video. I will not upload them today because I have to go to bed now, and I have to wake up at 6 a.m. So I gotta be fit then. So thanks everyone for joining. It was a pleasure to make these.
yeah,
First, a big thanks to Shield for basically sticking the entire time.
no problem. Thanks for coordinating this with me, Lauren.
Then thanks to Dwayne, who jumped in on the second video for quite some time now.
Absolutely. Ciao.
And
Thanks.
let's not forget Ryan, who also stuck around for the entire time too.
I'm going off all the ways. Thanks to Ryan to also come in with a lot of great ideas and a lot of information. It was really great.
Yep, glad to be here.
Then thanks to Daniel, who had a lot of, as you see, written input. Like you can see it here, he has written a lot and just given a lot of ideas. Was really great. And thanks to everyone that came in and listened in. Big thanks to Pat, who also was there and on the first part at the start. And yeah, thanks to everyone who joined in. Thanks to everyone who was talking about their teams on their own. Like, for example, Darian. Just giving us input on the teams and letting us know a little bit more about how their draft went to be. And I will do this like tomorrow or on Saturday. I will finish the videos. I will upload tomorrow, definitely. I will upload these 2 parts tomorrow. And yeah, see you soon.
All right. It's been a pleasure, Lauren.